Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. It's a Monday morning. It's a dreary one here in Northern California. Hope it's sunny where you guys are. I'm Rebecca Mosley, the co-founder of Laughing Place, and with me is the site's co-owner, Ben Breitbart. Ben,
Hello.
there's a lot of fun Disney news and some not so fun Disney news happening right now. We're going to be talking about this morning.
I guess it depends on your perspective. I think it's all fun and hilarious.
Oh, well,
But
yeah, you're
yeah,
Mr.
so I'm just checking.
Like Disney for all
It looks like Disney World's the winner today, domestically at least. It's sunny, 74, Anaheim, 61 and drizzle. And over here, it's mostly cloudy, 57. It's not too bad. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but it's okay.
I like sun. I like a bright blue sky and a sun in the morning. That's what
It looks like tomorrow you'll get that.
I'm solar powered. But you were talking about Walt Disney World, and I guess
And solar power.
it's nice and sunny over there. Ben, do you want to start with some Disney World news?
Yeah, so we got there's a new benefit. Talk about people always say, you're taking stuff away, which I have, like, Magical Express and things. But next year, if you in 2025, you'll be able to, on your check-in day at a Disney owned and operated hotel, including Vacation Club, you can get a water day park ticket on the day you check in. So, some people don't want to spend like that first day. That's kind of like a half day sometimes, depending on when you arrive. Wasting a theme park ticket. But this way you can go to either Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach, obviously subject to weather, and enjoy them for no additional cost. You also don't need to have a ticket package. So, like, let's say you were going there just for like a conference, or you have an annual pass, or it has nothing to do with what kind of ticket you have. You can go to the water park regardless.
I am so excited about this because too many of my super passionate Disney fan friends still haven't set foot in a Walt Disney World water park. And I love to tell people that if I could snap my fingers and be in any single location that has been created by Disney, for me, it's Typhoon Lagoon. It is such a master show of Imagineering, transporting you to a location through design elements. And like I say, I'm excited that maybe this will kind of just further tease my peers into finally visiting Typhoon Lagoon.
Well, and in addition, the 2024 benefits of evening hours for deluxe resorts, plus the 30-minute early entry, will continue into 2025. And 2025 packages for most states will go on sale starting tomorrow. You can obviously contact our partners at Mouse Fan Travel if you have a hankering to go. And it's we don't quite know what 2025 is going to bring to Walt Disney World, but for those that aren't going this year, Tiana's Bayou Adventure will be open, as well as the New Country Bear Show, and probably some other magic that is yet to be revealed. So,
we recently highlighted the water parks because Blizzard Beach is about to undergo its annual refurbishment. If you're unfamiliar with kind of the operations, in recent years, Walt Disney World has kind of flopped back and forth between having, like, Blizzard Beach will be open for a portion of the year while Typhoon Lagoon is closed, and then Typhoon Lagoon will be closed for a portion of the year while Blizzard Beach is open. And so knowing that Typhoon Lagoon will be reopening and Blizzard Beach is about to close, our team went and took some pictures of Blizzard Beach so we can do that compare and contrast when it reopens after its refurbishment. So we'll have the link below.
And reading between the lines too, though, I wonder if that means that it used to be during the summer both water parks would be open. Seems like that's not really the case anymore. It's one or the other ever since COVID. Obviously the way guests experience Central Florida has changed. Wow, that's quite the sipper.
She sits right on my desk. That is, no joke. I love Typhoon Lagoon. It's my happy place.
And Typhoon Lagoon reopens in just about 3 weeks. So 3 weeks from yesterday.
Yay! Okay, now we get to talk about the news that you like.
So let's just set the table here. So there's two groups that are offering their nominees for the board of directors. So if you're a Disney shareholder, you should get a rainbow of proxy products, including white from the Walt Disney Company, blue, I think, from Trian, and green from the Blackwells. So the Blackwells have decided to give their presentation about the future of technology at the Walt Disney Company. You can find out more information at thefutureofdisney.com. And I was going through this, and let's look at it from a guest perspective, and also kind of what Disney's already done, what Disney's had success with, that how they're going to move forward. Now they are their thesis on this is Disney's technological efforts have fallen short.
And which group is this? I just want to
This
be
is the Blackwells.
Okay, the Blackwells group. Okay.
Thefutureofdisney.com. They have the PowerPoint, which you can kind of see their case point by point. It's and there it is. But it's I think we've all made fun of Disney technology efforts, particularly on the park side. I don't think in terms of media, I think DisneyPlus has been stable enough, and then obviously movies are movies, and of ILM, they're kind of at the cutting edge of visual effects and things like that. But they are one second. They are kind of saying that there should be their first sort of thesis is that there should be a chief technological officer for the entire Walt Disney Company. So right now you have Aaron LaBarge, who handles entertainment, ESPN. So that's things like DisneyPlus, streaming, whatever theatrical. I mean, not necessarily from an ILM side, but just sort of the distribution network that they have. And then you have Gail Evans, who is on the park side. And so she is coming for things that are more experiential, such as the apps that you use and the way that the parks use technology to deliver experiences to the guests.
I'm working on pulling up that document for you, Ben.
So, and the one thing that I don't quite understand is they tried to compare the technology investment that Disney has to companies like Amazon, which obviously Amazon is a tech company. That's what they do. They're not really an experience company. So Disney is investing more in actual experiences and physical plants and buildings than Amazon is outside of the experience. So, and Disney puts less in R&D than their peers, which is once again perhaps not surprising on the Amazon and Apple side. I would think as a tech company that builds computers and things that they would need to, that is their business, as opposed to being part of Disney's business. But if you keep going, you'll see that, it's not a lot. Now, Disney just recently highlighted their efforts at Walt Disney Imagineering, such as the Holotile. Obviously, we've seen some impressive things with robotics lately between Duke Wesselton over at the Shanghai Disneyland opening, but there's still some work to be done on that. And so, what the amount that they invest is up to discussion. But I mean, I think we all would love Disney to invest more in technology, not just necessarily to just do it, but so that they can build new things. I mean, the company, since the multiplane camera, has been innovating technology and such. And so, I think, but you would live in a world where there's real technology companies that are investing more. And so how does Disney compete with that? And that's a good question. I think, where should that be? But this is where we get a little bit, starting to get like on slide 7 here, is where we get a little concerning, I think. They talk about using things such as AI, VR, and AR, and spatial computing to move the company forward. Now, that being said, I think Disney is using all of those things in the ways that they feel they could. But I think those are also very buzzy words without any real examples of how you would actually use them. Disney has been investing in VR forever and things like, and I don't know that's been particularly successful. We've seen things like The Void shut down, Tales of Galaxy's Edge, I think was successful, but not, it didn't really break through. And so I think Disney is investing through the ILMX lab in the technology so that they're ready once it kind of breaks through the critical mass where people have the devices and things. But I think you're waiting for you're asking them to invest in a technology that people don't seem to want. I mean, this whole metaverse thing has not been successful and people don't seem to want it. So, and then obviously, you can always cherry pick data where, so example, on slide A here, they have the world's most influential and innovative companies in 2024, with number 1 being Microsoft, number 2 being Apple, 3, the Saudi Arabian oil company, 4, Bank of America, and all the way down Disney. Based on what, right? Based on, what's this? I don't even know what this is. CEO World
Magazine. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And that's not a objective take as anything, right? I mean, you could. I mean, ESPN makes their living off of debating who's the better MVP candidate. You can do that all day. That's pointless. But then, so if you get into slide 9, you really have, okay, here's what we want them to do, and this is where you start to get a little worrisome to me.
So okay, so AI, this is where we actually get not their critique, but their vision.
Right.
Okay.
And for AI, their example is ChatGPT with Disney characters, which sounds like a terrible idea at this juncture. Getting that, you're either going to get them to not say anything interesting, or you're going to have them say something that could delegitimize who those characters are, or worse, something potentially offensive, even if you don't have it fully programmed. So you don't really want Mickey out there saying something that could be interpreted in a different way. Agents to book travel, I don't know what that means. I mean, I mean, they have a website. I'm sure, a chatbot, anyone has experience using a chatbot realizes that they're useless at this point. No, that doesn't mean they won't be better in the future, but is that going to move the stock price that an agent can help me, AI agent can help me book a vacation? I don't get that. And we would all recommend using a human travel agent anyway. And AI assistants to navigate park visits, crowd control, book rides, i.e. AI guided GPS for parks. I don't think anyone actually wants that. Right now, Disney does things to guide you in ways they want to guide you. However, using AI, you can never make a guest go to Fantasyland just because you want them to go to Fantasyland. Disney monitors it now. I don't think that that's going to have any meaningful impact to anything except being a buzzword to say that you are using AI in the parks. Next, you have VR experiences that are content and character based. They've already done that, plenty. I don't know what else you are looking for here. A 3D lightsaber spar with a Jedi on the holodeck. Once again, have done 3D, have done VR lightsaber things already.
Okay, can I just be super geeky here?
Yeah.
This, for me, is like when my husband talks about R2-D2 being aboard the Galactica. Or he loves to torture me by blending all these, my beloved sci-fi.
Oh, you think that they're using a holodeck?
Holodeck.
They're using that as a Star Trek term.
Yeah, but exactly. A 3D.
I didn't realize that because I'm used to the holotile. I just figured that's bad. That's a story. If anyone on the team is watching that, talk about how Blackwells don't know the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek.
That's just no. Holotile, yes. Holotile technology. Okay, fine. Whatever. But no. Sorry. They lost me. Whatever grounds they had gained with me with the other dialogue, which hadn't been much, I'm now lost because I can't with the blending my sci-fi universes together. That just nope. I'm out.
integrations with sandbox platforms. Okay. And the Holodeck technology, which is something that they developed. So I don't know exactly what they are saying here, except something that they're already doing. AR applications to overlay Mickey Mouse Clubhouse characters and content on app and in home. Once again, things that they are already doing that people seem to not care about. So great. And then they go into Disney peers have been innovating in AI and spatial computing far quicker than Disney and are leading the sectors. Spatial computing has far more relevance to Disney than it does to either Apple or Meta. Disney understands the risk of mediocrity, but not the opportunities. So their example is like on Thursday Night Football, Amazon's technology, and Disney created so many sports they have a whole innovation lab. They're doing this whole Big City Greens takeover. They've done the Toy Story one. They invented the 1st and 10 line, as far as I can tell. Like, I don't know. Once again, telling Disney to keep doing what they are doing is not a case to have your new board members on the board.
Well, when I think of sports innovation and technology, I think of ESPN and the ESPN complex. I think back to sports science and, all these aspects, even just 538 in general. I think of, it's at 538. Am I using the right numbers? Too many numbers in my head.
Yeah,
but yeah, kind of go back to the kind of ESPN roots in a way. But yeah, fascinating. Okay. Yeah.
So, and then, I think we can all agree that the algorithm on Disney Plus, the recommendation engine could be better.
Oh, totally.
But I think,
and Disney Genie, the free aspect of Disney Genie, I don't know anybody who actually, actively uses that or embraces it.
But I also don't know if anyone actually wants to use it. Like, I don't know that when you go to the park, if maybe the most entry level guest, but they are also probably the ones that are just more likely to not even have the app and just sort of walk in and do what they want.
I would argue that I do wish Disney was better at embracing the fact that I'm a fan in offering me things than other brands do. Like, I feel like, when I use other brands, they do a better job of telling me, hey, we know you tried X, you should try this. And I'm still disappointed that Disney, I'll give a really frivolous example. I'm going to Disney World. I fire up my app. They know I watch DisneyPlus Moana. Tell me that all the places I can get a Moana themed dessert during my Disney World vacation.
And I remember Disney talking about doing that eons ago. In fact, Michael Eisner was the one who talked about doing
it.
And it never really came to fruition. I think because, and there's probably something where AI could help with that, right? But the hard part was just connecting the dots, right? How do you make it, for every film, you have to do a lot of different mapping, which is possible, and they should do it. But they're far but the only people who, quite frankly, Netflix's recommendation engine, it's better than Disney Plus's because it doesn't recommend basically the original of the remake I just watched, but it's also not recommending things I actually want to watch.
Well, and the other way around, I think the other day Doobie ran into a situation where he went to a classic movie and he was surprised that, like, what Little Mermaid, the way that the recommendations were, he knowing what he knows about what's on Disney Plus, he was like, I'm surprised it didn't suggest A, B, or C. But on the flip side, we got to play around recently, my family, with the Apple Vision thing, and they were really impressed with the fun kind of thematic Disney realms that exist within there when you're trying to consume content.
Well, and that continues on with what the Blackwells are saying. So they're talking about how the PhotoPlus lenses and AR filters that they have are using the same technology that has been in Snapchat for years. Well, that's great, but what are you looking for that's different? What are you asking them to develop? Because if we've been using the same cell phones basically we've been using for the last 2 years. There's got to be a reason to change it, not just to change it because it seems to be working. People are still using them now. There's more innovative things that you can do with AR. But at the same time, I want to say, I just did the Super Mario ride at Universal Studios, and in some ways, the AR was like the least impressive part of that experience because you it integrates with the real world around you, but it kind of blurs it, so you don't even really get to appreciate the scale. And I think what Disney needs to lean into is not so much AR. Well, it's good for it to augment it when it augment experiences, but I think what people are looking for is real reality, right? That's why they go into a theme park as opposed to just staying at home. It's because you have a physical plant with physical scope. So, I mean, that's just my take on it. These innovative interactive things have been around since Buzz Lightyear and Disney Quest, but it just never seemed to really be. It might enhance an experience, but never seemed to be the experience.
Well, and that's part of why I appreciate things like PhotoPass and the filters, because they're taking existing space. I mean, there isn't really much you can do with this, spot here in front of the castle, right? Because you don't want to build anything, then you obstruct the castle. But if you have a PhotoPass person there, then you can take this picture and you can have this really magical backdrop with this fun character in the foreground, thanks to the PhotoPass, but without actually impacting everybody else's experience. And there's not now a new Mr. Toad figure in Fantasyland. You just have him in your picture when you take it there in Fantasyland. I like that they're utilizing virtual in that way, kind of the non-existent realm in that way.
Absolutely. The next slide is talking about how Disney initiatives should be far more impressive, and they talk about the Holo Tile and DisneyPlus on Apple Vision Pro, which I don't quite understand because DisneyPlus is, I think, in terms of what I've been able to find, the best application on the Apple Vision Pro, and they developed the Holo Tile, so I don't know what exactly you're complaining about here. I don't think the Holo Tile is reactionary. Obviously, the Disney Plus being on Apple Vision Pro is reactionary to the system being developed. But Disney was never going to develop their own Apple Vision Pro, so I don't know what they're getting here. It's kind of a weird thing. So the case study: what do they want for artificial intelligence? Disney must produce an AI strategy. They must leverage customer experience data, guide creative endeavors, physical and virtual experience, and content strategies. And I don't even. It says once Disney technology mindsets properly emphasized, artificial intelligence will become the apex lighthouse. So yeah, I think there's some things we talked about where AI could use to connect Disney fans to other Disney experiences, know what level of Disney fandom you're at, so you're suggesting something appropriate. But it just feels like they were using AI as a buzzword here instead of an actual strategy.
Which I overheard. I was on a flight home, and the two gentlemen beside me I'm flying into Oakland Airport, or no, SFO, I believe. And the two gentlemen beside me are in that tech world, and I overheard them talking about the challenge right now, kind of within their field. They were saying that pretty much everybody's dropping AI into every presentation. Pretty much you come up with something and you find a way to work AI into it. And it was just interesting to hear them share similar frustration to what you're saying. And that is, AI is not the same in all ways. It's like there's a very broad definition of what AI seems to mean to people.
So they give some further examples of Disney as an AI leader. And for example, real-time crowd management. Implement AI algorithms to adjust guest flow in real time, redistributing guests to alleviate congestion. I don't know how you redistribute guests in a park. You're not going to put walls up.
But it's funny because I just experienced this in a way at Disneyland, because Big Thunder Mountain had been having frequent downtimes, and it popped back up. And we rushed over there along with a lot of other people because we saw, hey, it no longer shows temporarily closed. By the time we got there, it was back down. And so we just, ended up doing a U-turn, but you could see there was this migration happening towards Big Thunder. So it was funny. So as we were leaving, I was like, check your app again. It's back down, so you can halt people further and further away from the
yeah. I mean, really the only way you could do that is phony up wait times. And I don't know if you want to be in that business.
Well, and Disney also has that challenge of you're dealing with a wide variety of ages, and when you deal with a lot of under 18, in your demo, there's a lot of privacy concerns too within all that. And sometimes parents are wary, even if you say, I'm only going to collect your data as the adult. I'm not going to, even though your kid's in the same program, I'm not going to collect. There's a wariness there. So you have to be very careful when you start to, kind of dive into the collecting any kind of operations data on your customer base. I think Disney has a unique challenge there sometimes.
Yeah. The other thing they listed is predictive maintenance. I don't know that you want AI determining your maintenance program. They determine how long, there's guides that say you check this every 3 days, you check this every day, you check this every 6 months. I don't know. I mean, AI could definitely be part of the process to see use of life, but I don't want them to be like, oh, we don't need to check this today. AI, so it's AI is not there yet. Optimize staff allocation, also not the way things work in terms of staffing. You staff based on your needs. There's, especially in a world where they know how many guests are going to be there, they don't need AI. All you need is, your experience, and what the attraction was. Just most of the attractions, regardless if there's 10,000 or 50,000 people in the park, need the same number of people operate. Now you could have extra greeters and things like that, but that's just not the way the real world works.
And this feels to me like a definite indication that you wouldn't see any kind of reduction of the elements that I think Disney fans don't like, and that being reservations and kind of this book your lightning lane dynamic, because I would feel like you would need more of that kind of customer side input in order to, allocate resources. You would need to have a better understanding of your customer behaviors. So it feels like, if you're somebody who wishes Disney returned to more of a customer spontaneity, it doesn't feel like this would embrace, that kind of operational model.
And I think too, Disney has shown that they want. I mean, if you look at three of the companies that they've picked for their accelerator program are AI programs, AI companies, but it's just, sometimes if you want to be a leader on these technologies, you end up impacting the guests as you test them out. And I think there's no need to be fast first in terms of things like staff allocation with things like, because if it screws up, you're going to just be short staffed or not able to support the attractions or things like that. So, there's definitely ways that it could help, but none of these things are significantly going to affect the way Walt Disney Company operates. Then they want to talk about spatial computing. Disney has the unique opportunity to become a technological innovator in holographic environments. Or four-wall holographic environment may just be the beginning of Disney's next-gen interactive offerings. Disney's current holotile, however, is uninspiring. Disney guests should already be having a 3D lightsaber spar with a Jedi on Tatooine and traversing the African plains with Simba and Nala. Unlike Disney, until Disney thinks like a technology firm, it will not be valued like a technology firm. So, that's funny. I think Disney would love to have a holographic environment where they could, I think that's, I think
wasn't that what they were dipping their toe in with the Void?
Yeah, I mean, to a point, I think I think it's people, they're looking for a more physical thing, but yeah, it needs to be though integrated into the experiences that they have.
And I would argue, do you remember Pirates 4D?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it was at if you didn't get a chance to experience it, it was Disney Quest, and you walked into a room that was had huge. It was video screens, right? That were all around you were large screens, as I recall, and you were on a boat, and you had a physical cannon in front of you, and when you would fire the cannon shot, you would see it impact, and you were, in essence, put into a digitally created pirate's realm. And you competed, and it was you and other people. So it was like maybe a team of 4 or 6 people were trying to pilot your ship and explode things with cannons and collect treasure, in this treasure thing. They did one that was just a flat screen in front of you where you sat in a raft and you paddled. And the faster you paddled, the faster your boat went, and you were on a jungle cruise adventure. But the thing, I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is because they offered those, but whatever the guest interaction was or whatever they got out of it, it wasn't like we saw them, more deeply embrace that, did we? I mean, it was kind of like they dipped their toe in the water, but it didn't really seem to kind of go beyond that.
But I think it's because the guests can get those virtual experiences so many different ways now that they want to see. You can use it, as I said, to augment it. For example, Millennium Falcon or Smuggler's Run, the wow factor is walking under that tunnel and seeing the Millennium Falcon and then going in there and then seeing the cockpit and seeing the chess table. And then you go on an attraction that's powered by, the Unreal Engine, VR, whatever, whatever you want to call that. So you can use it to augment it. But if you're just building a VR environment, I don't know that that's as enticing. I haven't seen that be successful yet. I haven't seen it be successful within Disney, despite repeated efforts, and I haven't seen that successful outside of Disney. And the Meta Quest, Oculus, whatever you want to call it, has been around for a bit. Obviously, Apple could have the potential to change the game with what they're offering, but even there, they're leaning into more of just a viewing computing experience than they are, a gamified. Now we'll see what happens as that device kind of iterates and adoption gets higher. But I think Disney. That's why Disney wanted to be on that first. I can't watch, Netflix on it, but I think that yes, they want to they want to see where that goes, and it may fall flat on its face. People may just want to watch TV. Remember 3D TVs? There's been all sorts of technologies that Disney has invested in, resources in, that haven't followed through. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have, because you don't know what's going to hit. Disney was also the first to sell their movies online, High School Musical on Apple's iTunes. So you just don't know where the future is going to hold. Just because you have an amazing technology, if there's no use for it, if people don't want to use it, it has no value. Just to have the technology, just to have it. You got to find a creative outlet for it.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I've been surprised at the response to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, given how popular Star Tours is. The fact that, to me, you take a very similar experience and now you let the guest actually be active within it, not passive within it. I thought I was unique in that I prefer a passive experience. But it seems like that kind of is where a lot of the populace has been with this too, based on the feedback I hear. People are like, I want to be looking at the screen. I don't want to be having to worry about buttons. I want to be fully engaged in what's happening in front of me. But
they want to be told the story. If you look at something like Rise of Resistance, you're part of it, but you're not guiding it. And I think there's a reason Choose Your Own Adventures novels haven't become overwhelmed the book industry. Is because people want to be told a story that's crafted. And
that's interesting.
And now obviously there's things like video games where you play a part in it, but there's two kinds. Like there's open worlds where you're just kind of exploring and doing your thing, and that's one thing. But then you also have, I'm just going from point A to point B to point C. Yeah, I'm doing it, but it's still telling me the story that the creators had in mind. And you don't get too far off track, and you kind of get brought back so that there's an ending. The Spider-Man games, it's successful. So you can have interactivity.
Yeah, I was going to say Midway Mania is very popular.
And but it doesn't necessarily always have to be that way. And it doesn't need to necessarily be the point of it. When they had that flying carpet attraction that they tested out Interventions and at Disney Quest, it's fun, but it's not as fun as going on an Aladdin attraction.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. Hadn't really kind of thought about it much, but yeah. Cool.
And then I'm just looking through the rest of this.
They're really they're very upset. The crux of what I'm getting from this is that they're frustrated that Disney isn't a tech company.
Well,
they're not super innovative within that space.
So what's the difference between Netflix and Disney? Netflix is viewed as a tech company. Disney isn't. And Netflix is, admittedly more innovative than Disney is in terms of how they handle Netflix, the main product. But at its heart, Disney isn't a tech company, and tech companies are not necessarily experienced companies. In fact, many times they're not, right? There's, you look at NVIDIA, whose stock price, they're a tech company, their chips are powering the AI revolution. But you don't, I don't go to visit NVIDIA. I don't have any real affinity for them. Obviously, Apple is a consumer product company in many ways, but I don't, outside of going to an Apple store, that's my end of my sort of end user transaction with them. And same thing with Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft still powers many PCs, but their growth is coming from business, cloud services and things like that. So Disney's not a tech company. I don't know that Disney will ever become a tech company. The things that tech companies need is not what Disney is focused on. And these tech companies that are investing in entertainment, kind of getting into their space, have seen limited success. I mean, Amazon has had success with Thursday Night Football. Google TV has had some success with the Sunday Ticket, but Apple TV is not successful by any sort of objective metric. You can talk creatively, but in terms of viewership. And the question is going to be really, what are you getting? Microsoft has no real entertainment business to speak of besides the video games. And Amazon is using it as sort of as part of their Prime product. But I don't know. I would not be surprised if they exit the space because there's cost to this. And there's going to be less people providing video services in the future than there are today for a myriad of reasons. And we can get into why, I read an interesting, I'm going to have an article up soon about Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs and how come they seem to make no sense too. But I don't, they're not a tech company. Disney's not, and they're not valued like a tech company. They're an entertainment company. And Bob Iger would love Disney to be valued as a tech company. But tech companies don't declare dividends until later, which Disney is doing, and Disney has pressure to do. Tech companies don't have a highly hourly labor force like Disney does. Tech companies aren't viewed quarter by quarter, and tech companies aren't punished for the most part when they lose money. And as long as they're invested in growth. Disney tried that. Disney invested in DisneyPlus. They sacrificed earnings to put on things on DisneyPlus and really throw the kitchen sink at it. And then Wall Street, after Netflix stopped growing, said, "Okay, well, hang on. Now we're looking back. Now we're going to view you as a traditional company again." And the stock price got cut in half. And I don't know that any of the, so if the key here is that they want Disney to be viewed as a tech company again after being viewed it as such for about a year, I don't know that AI or any of these other things is what people want. People wanted streaming, and Disney has had success with streaming. I've yet to be proven over the 30 years I've watched Disney try to do this through various endeavors that it's successful, that people want it. People
By the
want
way, I can vouch for him being that because he owned an ESPN phone.
Yeah, I did. And that was cool. And some of these efforts, we could get Donnie on here talking about BMK. I mean, some of these things have been fun.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. But they were just never super successful. And it's not for a lack of trying. Sometimes that is the case. But, they tried. I mean, Disney Quest was around for how long? And just people didn't want to go because you have these incredible worlds you're building. People want to step into those. And they don't want to step into those through a VR component. Typically, they want to actually be there. But there's if you go to the last slide, there's a cool little technological, I don't know what fever dream that's happening with the castle. It's like if Tron and your favorite fantasy story came to life here.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Is that supposed to be Walt? Who is that?
It's just figure, just person.
And there's individual. Fairy and I don't know if those are zodiac signs or I don't know what's going on.
It's just fantasy images that are open use fantasy style images. So, but yeah, no, it's interesting I understand if you are looking at the notion of fastest path to huge share price. right? Obviously, when you look at what shares are of high value, you're looking at things like Alphabet, Apple, this kind of thing. I get it. But Disney, to me at least, that's not where their value is. They should embrace that. They should be part of they should be innovative in the space, but I don't know that they should be innovative in that space, if that makes sense.
Well,
That's kind of where my heart is.
I think the customers, the world knows what Disney offers, and there's no question that Walt Disney himself laid the groundwork of expanding what Disney could offer, whether it was going from cartoons to features, or film to experiences, to never built but a city, from theme parks to a city to Walt Disney World. No one has ever pushed the boundaries of what Disney can do like Walt did. But you need to, and I think Disney should try and find the next entertainment product that they can embrace, whatever that could possibly be. And I have my own ideas that I probably shouldn't share, but that is imperative that they constantly are innovating. I mean, whether it's cruise line or there's things that they can do to kind of build into new businesses. And I don't want Disney sort of pressure to buff up the stock price to get away from them trying new things that may not work, which I think is probably actually happening, just given the folks like this trying to get people on the board. But I don't know that people are clamoring for interactive conversations with Mickey on a phone. Now, I mean, we've seen the talking Mickey, at the parks, and I think there's things like that where you could work with it and use suggestions, and there's a large language model that screen could be used in that experience. But I also don't. I think if you're thinking Disney's not trying that and researching it, you got nothing coming. Of course they're doing that. You don't have an R&D lab and not thinking about how you use those technologies today. But you got to start with the storytelling, and then and what you want to do, and then use the technology. The reason that Holo Tile exists is because wouldn't it be cool if you could walk and not move, and still stay in a place? And the things that they did, it's not just having dancers use it as an innovative way to just have innovative dancing, or using it from an experience standpoint, or using it just from development, kind of so an Imagineer can walk around a space that's yet to be built.
Yes.
But there's all sorts of ways you could use that technology, but that became out of a need. And to me, it's frustrating in that you have, everything in this thing is stuff that they've done, whether it's successfully or not, right? I mean, they don't provide any attitude besides naming a chief technology officer. I mean, which is fine if you want to do that. I mean, I don't think that's going to really change anything. It's stuff they've done. Disney is on the Apple Vision Pro, and Disney is investing with Epic Games for, we'll see how that plays out. Disney has tried things like Infinity and Playmation, and I just don't see to me, this is a presentation with no actual plan. And I wish there was, not so much because I want them to be successful, but because I would love to hear new ideas of how to push Disney in new and exciting directions that could be supported by Wall Street. DisneyPlus was able to launch with that big investment because Wall Street agreed, and they gave up earnings for some time to allow it to happen. Whereas I don't know sort of famously, the Walt Disney Company did not approve investment in Disneyland, and that's why they created, WED and Disneyland Inc. and everything. And then once it was successful, they're like, oh no, you should be part of the family. And in an effort to avoid that, what is the next game-changing investment Disney could make in the experience business? And I mean that, I don't necessarily mean that how Disney defines it, but in movies and storytelling. Obviously the Disney Channel was a big deal that, is waning in influence, but there's all sorts of places Disney could conceivably go, but none of them are included in this report.
Hi, Mickey is my spirit animal. How you doing? Thanks for joining us this morning. Oh, well, hey, Ben, do you want to talk about some other news that's out there?
I sure do. So I know Becca did the review, but she's a little bit under the weather. But the embargo lifted for Queens, and you got to go to the premiere of this on the red carpet.
Yeah, this is a really beautifully crafted. It's a female-led production because they're focusing on those species that are kind of a matriarchal, female-led societal structure. And just stunning footage, over 300 days of shooting that have been condensed into, I want to say it's a 6-episode series. Yeah, the footage, Becca in her review, which I would really like to, we'll put a link below. Becca's review is beautifully crafted. She does a great job of highlighting the parts that spoke to her and kind of sharing places where maybe it disappointed a bit. But Angela Bassett as the narrator on this is just a brilliant choice. She's also, I believe, has a producer credit as well within the context of the project. But yeah, you've got just elephants, hyenas, some amazing nighttime footage. They use infrared, like heat cameras of some sort, so you can see what's happening even in the pitch black of dark. So just stunning. If you are a fan of animals, I don't tend to watch a lot of the animal, document. I'm not big on that typically, but I really enjoyed this one. And if you really don't like animal stuff, there's a companion piece that takes you through the process that brought this to life, and they interview all the people behind the scenes who were there, the cinematographers and the conservationists and all that. And that in itself is unbelievably fascinating. So, be sure to, at the very least, check out that, because what they go through to bring these kinds of access to nature to us who don't venture out into these worlds was really, really impressive, and I enjoyed learning more about that.
Yeah, Rebecca seemed to enjoy it as well. All hail the Queen, worth the wait. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to checking it out. Seems like, and when I was on the red carpet with you, and the team behind it was just so endearing, and
yes.
This is there's a noticeable lack of female voices in wildlife documentaries, just stemming from the sort of BBC origin of this, and but that doesn't mean that these are not the apex folks of the industry, as well as bringing in new voices that are bringing in really interesting takes on it, and working with their male allies who have are also bringing their expertise. So it seems it's a very exciting show. I don't get to watch a lot of these things because my little boy likes to bark at TV when there's animals on him. But maybe on that plane ride or something. It really has impacted my NatGeo ability to watch television.
But I can't get over how beautifully they're able to photograph nature now and get you right up close, because the technology has so improved that they are able to kind of bring you straight into the heart of it without themselves being there, so that you're really just kind of a fly on the wall, observing these beautiful creatures. So yeah, I only saw a couple of them, and so I could have some knowledge of the project before I spoke to the creators on the red carpet. Now I'm looking forward to really digesting and watching all of it. It comes March 4th on Hulu and DisneyPlus. So yeah, be sure to check out Queens and learn more about the species that have a female-dominated structure.
And I know you don't watch as much ESPN as you used to.
That's for sure.
But Ryan Clark has re-signed with ESPN. He'll remain on NFL Live, Monday Night Countdown, First Take, and Sports Center. And his deal had ended, and they were looking, and I think there was some conversation about whether he was going to come back or not. I think he had a real star turn, and I mean, it's a bit of a grim way to look at it, but the way he got much praise for how he
Mhm.
handled the DeMar Hamlin situation, where they sort of
Yes.
had to go back. The game was postponed mid-game, and they had obviously no time to prepare, and just sort of addressed you know uh, the danger that folks can put themselves in, while at the same time acknowledging the love of the game and not making it sort of an anti-football rant. But and talked about what needed to happen, and what was going on through his teammates' head. So I think in a world where ESPN has been known to be really cutting back on their talent spend for various reasons, it's good to see, I think, in my opinion, that Ryan Clark will remain part of the family. He has a great
Yeah.
rapport with Scott Van Pelt, which
Mhm.
I think really brings home their Monday night, pregame, postgame experience. So happy to see that.
Yeah, I know, and I believe it was through his Instagram that I saw that kind of mattered to him. It was like he'd been cut from a team he cared about, So I'm glad to hear that he is going to be still there at ESPN.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Over on Laughing Place, I just want to highlight a couple of the articles that I think have been fun that we've been doing. Over the weekend, there was RunDisney Marathon, and as part of the character appearances, Isabella from Encanto appeared there. So we gathered up some socials from that. The Asajj Ventress Legacy Lightsaber Hilt is coming, and I know there's a lot of Asajj Ventress fans out there. But I wanted to ask you, and this is going to be controversial. Do you have a moment to talk about this? I know we're
Yeah,
wrapping
sure.
up.
No, go for it.
And that is the Disneyland After Dark Disney Channel Night Entertainment was revealed, and kind of the
Okay.
photo ops, the characters that you'll be able to meet. Did it hit your, what you were expecting? Because I had certain expectations, and they're not on this list. So let me just say the characters that are listed. You've got Baloo, King Louie, Don Carnage. You've got the Chippendale Rescue Rangers with Monterey Jack, Rapunzel, Flynn Rider, Kim Possible, Huey, Dewey, Louie, Scrooge. Those are some of the ones that are among the listed.
Yeah, I guess I just think of Disney Channel as more of a live action, a place. I mean, even in from its tween era to its earlier era. I mean, it has animation, so I obviously, but a lot of the Disney Afternoon stuff, I think more of it is Disney Afternoon. But I'm thinking like Phineas and Ferb and folks like that. And I know
that was the character meet that was the characters that weren't on the list that surprised me.
Well, but I guess I took it to be that I presumed that they were going to be at the Phineas and Ferb dance party.
Okay.
So I mean,
so
maybe not
that explains it. Yeah. Okay. No, there you go. By the way, the thing that I'm loving is that the Disney Channel Wand ID, it was at the D23 Expo, as I recall. So that'll be there. And look at these backdrops. So which one of these are on the must-do list for Ben? They've got Camp Rock, Cheetah Girls, Gargoyles, Halloween Town, Hannah Montana, Lizzie McGuire, Proud Family, Zack and Cody, Teen Beach, That's So Raven, Wizards of Waverly Place, and Xenon.
Well, so I mean, I think the Disney Channel wand. I hope it's not just like one wand, because that's going to be the thing, right? Like that's the whole reason you go to this event.
Totally.
Is hi, I'm Benji, and you're watching Disney Channel, and and hope that you made some semblance of a Mickey Mouse head.
Yeah.
No, I mean, just obviously based on my age, Gargoyles is it's not, once again, not really a Disney Channel show, but that was my. I still have gargoyle sheets at my parents' house, bed sheets. So
seriously,
yeah.
I didn't know that about you. That's awesome. Okay.
And it was I would say it was like an under merchandised property, so like you would get everything you could. I mean, it wasn't hard to get the whole gargoyles collection. So yeah, and I'm curious, like the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I hope it's like a bell, like they get from the Disneyland Hotel, like a valet bellman thing, and you can, and you can get your head in it. It kind of depends on the execution matters a lot on these things, and
100.
So I'm curious to see how they actually play out. I mean, it's only a 2-night event, so I don't know what kind of infrastructure you're going to end up having. I don't want just like the one on here. I'm not excited about the step and repeat. Whoopee. But
I love that they're having a Camp Rock karaoke at the Golden Horseshoe. I love that we're once again going to have a High School Musical pep rally happening in a Disney park. I loved those during that era when we would be all in this together all the time, 24/7.
Well, and someone may, this is obviously not Disney Channel today. I mean, I don't know what's on Disney Channel today. I mean, there's not a lot there right now, particularly on the live action front. But like, it makes me wonder, like, so obviously people are going to this because they have nostalgia for growing up with the Disney Channel.
They're bringing in zombies and Descendants.
Yeah. So when was the last time they made Descendants? I mean, they're making one now, but like, that's not exactly, the hip franchise. I mean, there's no Slumber Party reference here. There's no Haley's on it.
Party, the underloved and underappreciated DCOM.
But I wonder, like 30 years from now, is there going to be like OG DisneyPlus night with like my Mighty Ducks Game Changers photo op?
Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think it may be underappreciated. Now, obviously DisneyPlus is ubiquitous and so has second to Netflix in terms of subscribers. Obviously,
it'll be the only way you can see Mysterious Benedict Society is they'll just have it playing in the Magic Eye Theater.
But there's just like when they went from 3 networks to cable, like there's something to be when you're guided to certain things, and there's a common cultural moment with these things, which there still is, but just different. What are kids that are growing up today? What are that Generation Alpha? Like, what is their Disney nostalgia going to be? You're seeing Moana have this resurgence as it's the most streamed movie on streaming yearly. But it's
being pushed on me on Roku right now. When I turn on Roku, it had these enormous billboards for Moana on DisneyPlus when I turn on my TV.
But yeah, so what's going to be the thing? What's going to be the, not necessarily sure, like I expect Encanto to be popular forever, but what's going to be the thing that didn't hit when it was initially released? Or even, I'm not talking like Elemental, but like, something that, we consider not necessarily successful or under the radar that everyone's going to discover in 15 years. What's going to be the Suits of Disney? And that, it's kind of like Goofy Movie. Like, what's that? What's the thing that was kind of like came out, no one noticed, and then through discovering on Disney Plus or whatever, suddenly becomes popular again, and so you can't escape it anymore.
Speaking of things to rediscover, Tangled is making its way to the stage. It sounds like Disney Theatricals is working on developing that, and our very own Marshall Knight has given you his dream cast for such an endeavor. And Marshall has such a passion for theater, and he writes with that passion, and you can feel it. And so check out, I'll have a link below to Marshall's dream cast for Tangled musical when it comes to light. And I like how Doobie thinks it's going to be the Naughty Nine, trending in 2034. The Naughty Nine. Everybody holiday movie.
If you knew, But like, I mean, like, look at like Disney Plus is milking things that were like not success, like, Hocus Pocus and all that stuff that they've embraced because it had a big enough fandom that people were engaged with it. They have repeat viewings. I mean, that's what Moana's success is, right? It's not, it's people watching it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But it's not lost on me that the number one thing on Disney Plus is not actually made by Disney, and
it will have new episodes soon.
I know, especially I'm so excited. The image that they shared with so there's Bluey and Bingo dressed as Rita and what's her name? Janet. Rita and Janet as the grannies, and I am excited. Bluey. I don't know if you've heard the story about how we got into Bluey, but they announced that Bluey is coming to Disney Plus, and Alex is going to Toy Fair, and so we watched some Bluey. He was watching Bluey to kind of understand what who the characters were, and then I started watching it, and I'm like, maybe this is something we watch together. And it's a great night show. It's a great show to kind of go to sleep to. And we treat every episode. We did the same thing. So I introduced Alex to a little ABC, well, not an NBC show produced by Disney, so it's essentially an ABC show called The Golden Girls. And Alex,
I did not know that you introduced Alex to the Golden Girls. Okay.
And he still has not seen the last episode just because he doesn't want to like bring closure to his Golden Girls experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's actually watched all of the Golden Palace.
Wow.
So I mean, I'm not sure how he was able to follow the through line, but so yeah, it's great comfort food television, and I love Bluey. I love the Golden Girls, and ironically, both feature grannies.
There you go. As a reminder, Laughing Place covers all things Disney. We like to say if it can impact that stock price, you'll find it here. Just looking at what happened lately, we've got ESPN news, we've got a Simpsons review, some FX coverage because of Shogun. Of course, what we started today with, that is the Walt Disney World introducing a water park benefit to resort guests. If you missed that, be sure you can rewind to the beginning and see that, or check the link below. Anything else before we sign off, Mr. Ben?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much for joining us this morning. We will be back later this afternoon with our team to talk about the latest news for Disney parks. So we invite you to join us then. In the meantime, have a great day, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.